I'm Tony Vlahos, Chief Marketing Officer of ExecuNet. Hi, everyone. And today I'm speaking with Paul Berger. He is a 76-year-old retired general aviation pilot. Paul says that the FAA and the AOPA know how to reduce the nation's general aviation fatality rate, but they're not doing enough. Paul, how are you doing?
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you today. So what are we talking about, Paul?
Well, we're talking about the fact that there have been a series of general aviation accidents that seem to repeat themselves year in and year out. Typically, for the last 13 years and more, last decade, there have been 500 fatalities of general aviation accidents that include pilots and passengers that are in what I consider to be avoidable situations.
So tell me more. Are you suggesting, Paul, that there should never be a fatality?
No, that would be too optimistic, but I think that it could and should be less than 500.
Okay. So why aren't they doing enough? I know you know who I'm talking about.
Right. A number of years ago, the National Transportation Safety Board, the NTSB, put the pressure on the FAST team, which is the FAA safety team, to come up with a solution to these accidents. And they did. They identified those accidents that continuously reoccur, and they put together a program, and they identified the causal factors, but the program, the Wings Pilot Proficiency Program, the acknowledged solution, has not been promoted.
I want to talk about, let's call it something that is generally undiscussable, right, in the industry. Let's talk about the relationship between the FAA and the AOPA.
Well, we have a little bit of a problem there. Let's start with the AOPA. The AOPA is the largest aviation organization in the country. It has nearly 400,000 aviators. Most, if not all, of their safety programs are Wings credited programs. And in addition to all of that, the FAA pays for the AOPA's, or the Air Safety Institute's, mailing, which goes to the aviators in different parts of the country where the seminars are being held, announcing the fact that the seminar is going to be held there and telling them what the subject is. But they cannot seem to find a common ground. The AOPA, in my view, has the ability and the knowledge of how to promote and make this program work. And I've tried desperately to have the FAA consider finding a way to transfer the program to, or outsource the program to, the AOPA. But the AOPA, on the other hand, wants a little bit more than the FAA is willing to offer. And the FAA claims in the past that it's not just the safety program that's part of the Wings program, there are other elements. Okay, maybe that's the case. But the reality is the AOPA, the Air Safety Institute, to the best of my knowledge, has never once written an article, written an editorial promoting the value of the Wings program, or even discussing the Wings program. Mm-hmm. So without editorial comment, not being forthcoming, and advertising and promotion stalled, we have a standoff.
So let's talk about the solution. You have one. Tell me what that is.
Well, I have some recommendations.
Okay.
I would like to think that they're the solutions, but if at the very least they're the starting ground to begin to make a difference and get some change, I think that we can move forward. There are several things that I propose. Among them are, first and foremost, to incentivize and to motivate participation in the Wings program. That's paramount. We've got to do that. And how we go about doing that recognizing sequester, recognizing the limitations of personnel, both within the AOPA and the FAA, with some minor changes, some just tweaking to encourage the pilot population to want to earn a wing or a wings credit is what we need to do. Here are some of the changes that I would like to have them propose, and I would like you to help me accomplish that. We'll talk about how you can help me in a short time.
Okay.
But the first thing is, the FAA should change the eligibility period. It does not make any sense to me if the flight review is every 2 years, why the eligibility for the wings program is 1 year. So it needs to be changed to 2 or more years, and maybe more years. And the second is to promote the fact that earning a wings credit is owned for life, as one owns a college degree. And this, in fact, may want to be one of the FAA's best-kept secrets, because, in fact, when Brian Neville, before he left the FAA, he, in fact, made that change. But no one knows about it. So that's a positive thing that has to be promoted. And the FAA should regularly promote the program via their SPANS program. They have the SPANS program. We understand why they have it. We know they don't want to inundate the aviator with information overload, but to remind them of the wings program from time to time, or not remind them, it just is not the right thing. They need to do it through the SPANS program. Additionally, what's the quid pro quo? Well, if you earn a wings credit, you're identifying yourself as somebody who is interested in safety, and your insurance underwriter should know about that and be able to apply the maximum credits that would be available in their company to your renewal or your application for insurance. Let's let the underwriter have access to your wings credit information in the system through an authorization. Next thing is, we need to have the FAA create and distribute a wings handout piece. And I propose that that handout piece be given to every certified flight instructor with an obligation to pass it along on the flight review, because every 2 years, every aviator is going to see a CFI. And we want to hold the CFI accountable. And it just doesn't make sense to me that the CFIs who are making the decision to go no-go decision of whether I can continue to fly an aircraft or am capable of sustaining my license should not be held responsible and accountable for reinforcing the value of the wings program and causing the aviator to register in the program. Just 2 other items. The FAA should mandate that all CFIs be held accountable to explain the wings certified pilot, why a wings certified pilot is a safer pilot, and the FAA should encourage flight instructors to give wings credits for a more comprehensive flight review.
Everyone who's viewing our talk flies, for the most part. Everyone's got a family, and most of their children, spouses, people they know, friends they have, they fly. As you said, everyone's impacted by this. What final words do you have for the aviators in particular? What would you like them to take away from our talk today?
I appreciate that question. First and foremost, this is not my fight. I'm only the conduit. This is our fight. I'm not an active aviator and haven't been for the last 15 years. The second thing is, I think that all aviators must take the responsibility to be as well informed as they can possibly be, for the obvious reasons. I believe that every aviator has a responsibility to earn wings credit and make that their #1 priority. There are 3 levels of wing Start with the basic, go to the advanced, go to the master's program. It will only benefit you. You will learn about things that may preclude you from starting the engine, or may prevent you from taking off, or may suggest to you, I don't want to continue this flight and return to safe ground. Safety. Okay. Next, the aviators must accept the ownership and make our collective voice heard. I can't do this alone, and I can't do it without you. An aviator must acknowledge their responsibility to their passengers. We fly family, friends, and friends. So if there's an accident or an incident which results in a fatality or an injury, it's ours forever and ever and ever. We need to do everything we can to preclude this.
Wonderful words of wisdom and advice from a trusted source. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Tony.